are you extremely rich and want a car to move your family around or your kid around, but you don't want an Innova? Well, then that's the car for you, because this is the new Kia Carnival. It's finally back after months and years of delay. And it costs 64 lakh rupees. 64 lakh rupees for a van, essentially. But for a lot of people, that isn't the problem, because they've already got about 3,000 bookings. That's a lot of people who are buying the Kia Carnival. Okay, now this is of course more premium than an Innova. It's always going to be more premium. And let's just quickly take you through the whole car. But this time we will actually do it quickly, because the last time I said quickly, we end up having a 12 or 13-minute video. Okay, so I'm on a timer this time around. Okay, it still has the typical Kia sort of design features, because look, this isn't a new car. It's been around in the market internationally for a few years now. So it's not got the new Kia design, which, if we just turn the camera quickly around, that the EV9 does have the new Kia design. But coming back to this, come on. So yeah, it still looks like a typical Kia. So you've got the typical Kia grille, you've got the sort of headlamps, and this doesn't have the whole split headlamp thing. It has a more conventional headlamp unit, but you have a daytime running light that extends all the way inside. You've got a typical van-like side profile. So similarly with the Innova, how the Innova went from a very van-like profile to a slightly more SUV-ish like look, Kia has done the same thing. The last generation Carnival was extremely van-like, egg-like. Now this has gone to a bit more sort of straighter, more angular, more or less curvy design language. Again, 18-inch wheels. And the big thing that a lot of Kia Carnival owners and users had a problem with in the third gen car was the ground clearance. That was horrible. I remember, or actually we do have one in the family, and it's really bad on bad roads. This one has 180 mm of ground clearance, so that's a lot. And of course it has slightly larger tires as well, so the whole car is slightly taller, and it looks a little bit more like an SUV as compared to an MPV. Let's come here around the rear, and if we can just quickly, can we quickly put the back down? Just a second. Right, okay. Let's just put the tailgate down and show you what the design language at the back is. Again, very similar to the front. It's very angular, very non-MPV, traditional MPV-like, but again, this is a design language that a lot of people are, a lot of automakers are actually going for. Now, this is something you've obviously seen in the likes of the Karens and the likes of the Seltos as well. So that's typically Kia. Again, it's actually coming from here. This design language that we've seen on the Seltos in India, it actually comes from cars like this internationally. So that's the exterior broadly. We'll of course get a more detailed video when we drive the car, but I think we should move to the interior, and we'll very briefly go to the inside and the front, because honestly the front is not where you want to be in the Carnival. Okay, so let's cut here and move inside. Okay, let's briefly talk about the interiors in the front. Again, as I mentioned, I'm going to do more about the rear because that's where you want to be. But you do have a massive curved screen, 12.3 inches on both sides. The key is not in the car, unfortunately, because they don't want people to drive the car off the stage, understandably so. But again, it's just very simple. It's minimalistic. It's, I mean, you've got a rotary knob like an old Jaguar for the sort of gear selection. And that's basically about it. If the car is off, which you can see here, there's literally nothing on the dashboard. All of this is capacitive. All of this comes on when the car comes on. Sadly, there's no key, as I mentioned. And there are buttons here, there are buttons here, there are buttons basically everywhere. Again, everything is capacitive touch. It's not really a button. But again, this is the way things are moving. You've got, of course, cool seats in the front, both sides, and in the rear as well. So that's about a quick wrap of the front end. Mostly your driver is going to sit here and drive you around in any case. So let's move to the rear. Good thing though, still has those van doors, not normal doors, still has the van doors, which means you can get in and out of them very gracefully. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing that's very important is it's still a van shaped car, and it still has the sliding doors, which makes getting in and out extremely easy and extremely classy too. So if you're wearing a dress, now of course I'm not, but if you are wearing a dress, then it's easier to get in and out, right? Okay, so a couple of things that are very cool about the Carnival. You have obviously the front and rear adjust, but you also have this lever, which is very important, because you can either take the seat out or you can take the seat in. So for example, if you have a passenger that you want to sit closer to, then you can take the seat in. If you have a passenger you don't really like and you want to sit far away from him or her, then you can take the seat out. Now that's something that you don't see in a lot of cars, but it's also helpful if you want to actually get in the rear. So if you're sitting like inside and you want to get in the rear, then you push it out and you move that seat out as well, and then you can get in the back. Now this one can be adjusted from here. So let's put the seat slightly more in front. And it actually has enough space for even me to fit into. Now, normally this place will be occupied by bags and nannies and maybe small children sort of needing a little bit of space to themselves, a little bit of fun at the back. But overall, this is a very, very spacious place. And the key takeaway from this interior, everything is super, super premium, which sort of justifies that price tag. Okay, let's have a look at the boot. Yeah. Okay, so a lot of space on the inside is obviously clear, but there is also a lot of space in the boot. So if the third row is actually up, let's go up. If the third row is actually up, you do get a very, very deep boot loading area, like right down there, okay? Right on the bottom. You can put a couple of corpses here. You can put maybe like a plastic sheet and ice and things, etc. But if you want to fold it flat and if you want to carry, say, a scooter or a 4 of me or a massive chunk of wood, then it's very easy to stow it away as well. This is actually quite cool the way it moves in. Very well thought of. You just have to pull this lever, pull it back, and down it goes. And then you've got a space to either store a lot of luggage or a lot of stuff, or you've got a place to put a nice gadda and have a little party at the back. Okay, so we've done that now. Let's quickly talk about the engine spec. This comes with a 2.2 liter, 2.15 liter engine. It's got about 190, if I didn't want, let me just double check that spec. 193 horsepower. 193 horsepower, front wheel drive, automatic only, obviously, because you don't really need a manual in a big luxury van, do you? So tell me, would you buy this at a 50% premium over Innova? Because look, this sort of sits in a segment where really nothing else does. Let's get the camera here. Sort of just talk about the overall positioning of this car. This sits in a segment, as I mentioned, where really nothing else does. There are SUVs that are smaller, more luxury SUVs that are smaller, like the GLC or like the XC, but they don't offer the kind of comfort, the kind of just general space that this thing does. Or would you just have a bit of sense and, well, not sense, but would you just save your money and buy the Innova? Tell us then in the comment section below. That's the new Carnival for you. This has been PowerDrift QuickEase. See you.